There's a hickory tree right up here on the hill, and we're going to go up here when we cut it down. Lord willing, it will fall to the ground and not lodge. We get the bark off the hickory tree to weave the seats with.
A chainsaw gives the Newberry family an advantage their ancestors never had back before the Civil War. It still starts with a tree, and it's still hard work, especially when things don't go as planned.
Lobby dog.
Back in the day, the Newberrys used mules rather than the horsepower of a tractor to haul the cut timber. And the old-timers would likely be proud of their resourceful descendants who reached into the past for this 1930s-era diesel-powered sawmill. It allows them to rip all their own lumber, but it took 3 trucks and 2.5 hours on country roads just to get it here.
Each chair, like if somebody orders a chair out of a certain particular kind of wood, we go to the woods, find that kind of tree, bring it home, work it. We saw it up. And you make each individual part, but none of it is manufactured. If it don't look like it's going to last a while, we'll throw it away. We won't put it in a chair.
Whether building chairs, rockers, or stools, made of oak, walnut, maple, or cherry, Newberry & Sons craft old-fashioned products for a modern world and represent a long family tradition. Their history's been observed with awe by Tennessee's top folk life expert.
Idealist that I am, I always wondered why the world wasn't beating a path to their shop, because I do think they're incredible. The Newberrys are really a classic example of survival of a traditional craft in the South from the 19th century. And there are fewer and fewer examples of that kind of cultural treasure left in America.
This is your rough bark. This is called your cambium layer.
In the shop they built themselves, Louis, Terry, and Mark go to work stripping bark not only for the material needed to weave chair seats, but for something else their ancestors probably never imagined: international export.
But now, we sell bark in all over the United States and 3 other countries now. I really enjoy that, the fact that our product's traveling that far.
The global market is an opportunity opened by the World Wide Web, but the art of making a Newberry chair is still old school.
Usually we just put them in the turning lathe, but also have one style that we actually shave them out with a draw knife. I think they turn out pretty neat. A lot of people likes it because it has the 1800s look,
Of course, Mark and Terry learned their craft from Louis.
One generation teaching another generation right on down, and that's the way we're supposed to be doing with the Bible, ain't it? One generation teach another generation.
Louis was taught by his dad, Dallas Henry Newberry, known as Poppy to his grandsons.
But he could make anything now. He couldn't write his own name, I don't think. He might could write his name, I'm not sure. I believe he could spell it, but he could make anything he wanted to. Poppy and Daddy, they would be out in the shop making the chairs or repairing them, whatever. And me and Ma and Terry would be out there on the shade tree weaving them.
He would drive his chairs together with a single bit axe where it had the flat side on one side. And after he got older, he would just waylay the far out of that chair and he'd leave prints on it. But he made a stout chair. It had to be strong to put up with him putting it together.
Just the experience that his life spanned was incredible. He was still making chairs without electricity until the late 1940s.
Likewise, Dallas learned to make chairs from his father, Louis Tolbert Newberry, who learned from his dad, William Newberry, who was born in 1824.
Yeah, my boys makes 5 generations.
And in that time, some things have stayed the same. First, there's the quality.
Well, of course, I want to make a good chair, a good sturdy chair. I want it to last. I don't want to just throw it together.
It's good work. It's quality work. If it's not quality, it won't leave here.
So we try to make it, everything as you're making the chair, you want it to be there 200 or 300 years down the road. They can look back and say that's a Newberry's chair.
This is about the spot that you usually get to when you make a big boo-boo and you have to start the whole thing over again.
It takes a long time to build a chair from scratch.
What I timed, it took 28 hours to make 2 rocking chairs.
And that brings up something else that hasn't changed in 5 generations.
You sure don't get rich making chairs. And I've been making them a long time. You can't sell a chair for what it's worth to make it.
Chair making was part of an arsenal of skills for subsistence farming. These guys all farmed. Their plot of land that the Newberrys have all been raised on and have tended has been the site of many different types of extraction and agricultural work. They've certainly logged until just a few years ago. Their tobacco base was an important part of how they made a living, and then they fit the chair making in along the way.
The latest in this line of chair makers seems to be the first in the family with some sales savvy. Not only is Mark the one to implement internet marketing, he's also taking Newberry products to craft shows all around the country.
You're always meeting new people out there, going different places, and I like to travel. And if it's a way, for me to get out and travel, then so be it too, I make Daddy and Terry stay home, make chairs, and I can get out and sell them.
But for now, Mark is keeping his day job at the local post office, where some of his customers are also proud owners of Newberry chairs.
We consider them heirlooms. They're passed on from generation to generation.
Some people in the arts don't think folk art should be part of the arts, but it is part of our traditional culture. Most of the craft world nowadays exists in studios and university-trained settings or craft fairs and shops and so forth. And it's really refreshing to see a living, breathing example of the historical inheritance of something a little bit more of where crafts came from.
So what about the next generation of chair makers?
I hope my boys will carry on. Mark's gonna have to get busy, so if he ever has my grandson. He never married yet.
As you may have noticed from the old pictures, the wives and the mothers are also an important part of the Newberry legacy.
Mom's a part of us too. She takes orders. She cooks for us about every day and takes care of things here when we can't be here at home, but she don't come out much. She said she was hurting pretty bad today.
And the next Newberry chair makers just may be women. Terry's daughters have already learned to weave seat bottoms and are in line to carry on the family tradition.
If they want to. If they want to. I would encourage them to go to college and do something different for their main income. But if they want to do this, I'll show them how if I'm able. They can do it on the side.